Hi everybody and welcome to What's in the Box. Myself and Azar back for a look at more Shadespire expansions. So this time we're looking at the Orcs or Orruks.
Orruks?
Orruks.
Oh,
they changed the name of Orc to Orruk.
For the Age of Sigmar Underworld kind of
I believe so,
yeah.
I believe so. But these are the Ironskull's boys.
Yep.
So it's the Orruk faction and it does look quite nice. The artwork on the front, really appealing.
Nice and bright. I'm loving the yellow armor on these guys actually.
And then on the back, we're getting 4 guys in this one. So I expect them to be reasonably tough. But see, this is the thing for me. Whenever they actually changed the faction, they made them a little more advanced. Yep. So whenever I think Orc or Orruk, I think very much tribal, low-tech, rough, rusty bits of metal, not proper full-on plate mail, which is what these guys now have.
Okay, cool.
So
that
I
makes
think
sense.
aesthetically for me...
You prefer this?
No, I prefer the old version.
Oh, really? The
So,
more hodgepodge, the more kind of haphazard.
Exactly. So if we put these out of the way, I'll grab the sprues.
Seeing more of that coloured plastic, which is nice. So you can play straight out of the box if you really want to.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, this is the thing. If it's one thing I noticed years ago whenever people were doing board games, people would look at it and go, if there were nice miniatures on it, but I don't want to risk wrecking them.
Yeah.
You know, these days with things like Army Painter and stuff, it's a lot easier to get a good finish. So we'll pop this under close camera. So our first 2 guys, nice detail on things like the axes and stuff.
Nice scenic bases I've noticed as well.
Yeah, it's one thing they're adding into these. But it does have a very classic big orky feel to it with big meaty axes everywhere. You know, no little swords or rapiers in here.
It's all cleavers, isn't it, really? It's got a real butcher kind of feel.
And beat sticks. Yeah. One guy's rocking around with a couple of big maces here. The miniatures look really easy to put together. Oh, no, we have a sword.
Oh, there's okay.
I suppose even it looks pretty beefy. You know, it's like a big cutlass. You know, nice big broadsword. The miniatures are designed to be the easy build variant that Citadel have been coming out with. I think it's a fantastic idea because if you have your younger kids getting into this and they're maybe not so good with building stuff, this makes it very easy, very difficult to build wrong.
Could you even build these without using any glue whatsoever? Would they hold together just fine without glue?
You could probably push it because you
could probably get away with it for a bit. Yeah.
But for me, I would definitely pop the glue into it.
Yeah.
And again, you've got the fantastic instruction manuals that Games Workshop now do. Because this makes it so easy to see what bits do I need for each miniature. I'm not going to be clipping the wrong parts off. And when they're put together, they do look really good.
But because this plays, obviously it's an arena game where you move the board and change how it is every time, but it is a board game in a box. Yeah. These are just extra expansions that you can get to have extra warbands, which is cool. And it's an entire warband in a box, which is great.
There is one thing I would have loved to have seen added to this. Sure. Which is an additional game board. Because if you're bringing new factions in, each new player you add for like multiplayer adds an additional board.
Okay. So in the core box, you're only getting 2.
Exactly.
So you're restricted to 2 players. So, well, if you and a friend, I guess, get 1 each, that's your solution. But yeah, it's
For me, it's just, I thought it might have been an opportunity. Now, Games Workshop may do boards separately, but I would love to have seen like themed boards. Yeah. You know, I think it would have been maybe the next step up for it. Yeah. But, you know, absolutely nothing wrong with the kit as
an orc board would have been really nice. Yeah. So, I'm going to have a quick look at the cards here, just to have a quick nosy. So we've seen all number of factions now, because with the core box, we have a unit of 3, we have a unit of 5. Now we've got the orcs with a unit of 4. We know the skeleton box, the sepulchral guard. Nah, never going to get it right. Yeah. They come with 7, so it's interesting to see the variation in just the core warbands, which I really like.
Yeah, it really lets you see a representation of the toughness of the fighters, because you have the liberators, who you expect to be really tough. Yeah. And then these guys who are a little more, I would assume, gung-ho.
Well, these guys are super tough when it comes to wounds, and they have the Inspire ability, which is this fighter has suffered damage, which basically means you're going to have to take out a single orc at a time. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a lot of card flipped over inspired orcs, which are going to be even harder to deal with.
Well, their movement stays the same. Yeah. They're defending on shields. Yeah. Their attack... Does it change?
No, it says so. He just gains an ability there.
But you gain an ability here, which is Boss Choppas. Yeah. You can re-roll 1 dice when this fighter makes an attack action. Okay. Adding re-rolls, always a good thing.
I mean, to give you another example, here's Hakka's. So Hakka's, again, the same inspired ability, which means that you're going to be inspired if you suffer damage. Yep,
but he
He does come with a base ability to enable you to gain cleave if you roll a crit.
Yep.
But if he does become inspired, he does see a big jump in his dice. So he's going to be rolling 3 attack dice, doing 2 damage each. So he does properly enrage, as you might imagine.
Yeah, but they don't get any quicker. So that might be the Achilles heel of this faction, is that speed.
If they can't control objectives, if they can't get around behind and take out crucial units that are holding them down.
Well, there's a question. Do you have the objective cards there? Are there any theme ones?
Let's have a nosy.
So while you have a look at that, I'm going to have a look at some of the ability cards. So we've got an upgrade here called Headbutt, which is an attack. If this attack action succeeds, the target cannot be activated for the rest of the phase.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Very good.
So that's basically making him dizzy.
Yep.
You've got Dual Strike, which is 1 fighter supporting the first attack action in the next activation is considered to be 2 supporting fighters.
Cool.
Nice. So that's just them really getting stuck in.
Increasing your odds on the die rolls is always a great strategy.
Yeah. You've got Parry, which is quite a long one. The first time one of your fighters is targeted in the next activation, roll an extra defense dice. When counting your successes, ignore one of the defense dice.
Oh, okay.
Well, so you're getting a bonus one to hopefully get a better result.
So if you roll something that's not great, then it's not a big deal. I mean, we're seeing the theme come out. I mean, again, we've mentioned this previously, is that there's going to be cards in this box that are universal, that'll go into any of the factions, which basically adds into the deck building element of Shadespire as a game in whole. But the faction-specific ones are the really ones that get a little bit exciting. So I like this one. This is Call of the Wa, which is basically going to encourage you to get right in there early. So essentially, you're going to get a glory at the end phase of any sort of turn where 3 of your fighters have made a charge action. I like to think that's probably going to be pretty common when you're playing with the Orruks. We also have, this isn't too surprising, I think we've seen similar cards before, which is Ard as Iron. I was more dwarf than orc, I think, which is going to give you glory for basically having more of your guys alive at the end of the 3rd phase. So,
well, actually, it's a little different to that.
Go ahead.
This in the 3rd phase if none of your fighters are out of action.
Oh, none, so it's not even more.
If you get to the end of the game and all 4 of your guys are alive, you get this. Again, this is why I like having the mechanic to actually trade out objective cards in each phase to try and score more glory. Because if you get this on, say, phase 1, you're going to look at it and go, well, I can either hold this for the entire time, hoping that no one dies, and then as soon as one of your guys does die, you can just trade that out and get a new one in.
And replace it with something you can maybe gain glory from straight away. Yeah, absolutely.
So there are tactics to be had there.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. Shall we go ahead? I'll have a look through the rest of these cards, see if there's any more that I think are really interesting.
Yep, I'll get to building.
Cool.
We'll see you in a minute. And the Orruks are built.
And looking beefy and strong.
Yeah, I will say once again, a couple of issues with the kit on those gate locations where they're connecting to the miniatures.
Okay.
There's just 1 or 2 where it's just slightly awkward to get at them. So again, this is another one. If our younger gamers out there are playing with these, maybe get someone who's a little more experienced to give you an assist. Yeah,
cool. So yeah, it's again, we've talked about it before, and it's a big thing for me. If you're getting into board game stuff, this is a little bit of a step up. You're going to have to do a little bit of clipping, potentially some filing or some kind of just hobby knifing away. So just be careful. Yeah. Okay, let's start with Gurzag, Ironskull, the big boss himself.
Yeah, so this is your leader, yeah?
Yes, it is indeed. So he's rocking 5 health, 3 movement, does a nice 3 damage on his attacks, and he comes with a couple of pretty wicked upgrade and objective cards.
I will say, the actual sculpt for him, really nice pose.
Yeah.
Feels like he's just right in the middle of the fight, ready to rock and roll. Again, it's got that heavier armor feel to it, which I'm less of a fan of, but I can quite easily live with. It looks good. You know, it is a very nice miniature.
Yeah, I understand you like the rush and the rust and hodgepodge a bit.
To look as if they've just grabbed the chest plate off some poor dead human, rehammered it into shape, and now it's just covering like the shoulder of an orc. You know, things like that, as if they're taking what other races are making and reworking.
Yeah, whatever's lying around. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's personal preference on style. Right, what have we got first?
Yeah, so, well, do you know what? I think you'll like this. This is unkillable, so we're going to show this off. This is an upgrade specifically for Gurzag, so he makes himself unkillable. This is basically another way of him avoiding death. He has 5 health already, but if he ever takes enough damage to die, you would roll a defense dice, and on a shield or a critical, you would ignore all the damage and basically just discard that instead of killing him. Doesn't leave him on 1 health, it just keeps him alive with whatever health he had, which is great.
Oh, so it completely negates it?
Yeah, if you have a quick read at the bottom, I believe if he takes 3 damage and goes to 0...
They suffer no damage and they're not taken out of action.
Yeah. So it's like That is, a lot of cards you see in these games say, oh, go to 1 health and just come back with 1 or something like that.
Yeah, which leaves you really on the line.
Yeah.
But I will say, I like the fact that after you use this, you discard this card. So it's not just an instant, I am now unkillable for the rest of the game.
And it is only a 50-50, I believe. Because
it is.
Yeah, it's
2 shields and a crit on the dice.
On the other side of the scale, we have biggest and the best for Gurzag, which is basically giving him glory for taking out units. So it's basically if your leader took out an enemy fighter in the action phase, you're going to gain some glory, which, I mean, with only 4 orcs on the table, you're going to be charging them all in.
He's going to be getting it now.
We saw previously that you could gain glory by having 3 guys charging. I think a lot of your time is going to be spent charging with these guys.
See, I don't know, because depending on what their objectives are like, that's going to really determine what they're going to do.
Absolutely. A lot of their own in-faction cards do tend to push towards getting glory from punching, headbutting, doing things like that. So
stuck in.
Their universal cards would still be the objectives and that kind of thing, which you'd need to consider. But I think their in-faction stuff is actually all about fighting. Majority. So next we have Bonekutter, who's got his lovely big 2-handed axe to cut bones through butter, I imagine.
Yeah, he is really, really nice.
Yeah.
I love the design of this big, nasty, rough axe. It looks as if it's just been ripped up from somewhere and just an edge put on it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a random lump of metal with an edge, and that is what an orc weapon should look like. I love the fact that they've actually got a lot of detail in on the faces as well here. They do just look absolutely mean.
And there's a card, an objective card again that goes nicely with him called Too Dumb to Die, that's got the little text saying, what's got 2 legs and bleeds? Apparently it's an Orruk riddle. I don't think it's much of a riddle. Pretty much everything that they hit with their axe will bleed, I imagine.
Alright, and to actually pull this off, what are we doing?
Yeah, so essentially all the Orruks have at least 4 health. So you get 3 with 4 and Gurzag with 5. This one specifically says if you take 3 or more damage in a single attack and don't go down, you can instantly gain a glory. So you're getting glory for bashing, you're getting glory for killing, you're also getting glory for even surviving. They're all about playing, so you're probably not going to have a lot of objective cards surviving the whole until the end of each end phase. You're kind of getting them out immediately, which leads to upgrades quicker, which is cool. So as an example, here is if you wanted to make Bonekutter Dead Ard. This will only work with Bonekutter or with Gurzag because they are the Dead Hard boys, and this will basically mean they can only be pushed back or driven back on a critical hit. Which, to be honest with you, I am super fine with.
Very, very important.
Yes, it absolutely can. It does feel like the Green Horde War is just coming forward and it's not going to be going back anytime soon. But as we've seen, killing the enemy warband is not enough. You need to think about the objectives. So whether this is too focused on aggression...
See, I don't know. If they are specifically focused on aggression and they're getting rewarded for that aggression, then it's absolutely
They'll stay
fine.
up. They'll keep up going.
It also gives your opponent the big issue of, holy crap, it's up in my face. Holy crap, why won't it go away? Why can't I get on an objective and be left alone to actually score some points? Well, that's going to change how your opponent's going to have to play, which I think is very, very cool.
So next up we have Haka, who, as you'd imagine, has 2 great hacking weapons.
Now, before the battle, does he do a Haka?
I would have him do it, yeah, I would. I'm not going to do one on camera now.
So he looks really, really nice. And I love the fact that he's got the big cutlass and an axe. And again, the weapons look proper. And there's even some orc symbology on the weapons here as well. So really, really nicely done. I love the fact that his chainmail is just a little bit ratty with some holes in it. And again, just really, really characterful.
Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the next guy first, because Haka, I would probably call them brothers. Would have to read into the lore and find out if they actually are. But Haka goes with Basha.
Haka and Basha.
Haka and Basha.
Typical orky names. So Basha running around with a pair of maces. And yeah, really, really nicely done. Oh, look, now, him was actually a strange one. One of the gates was where I expected a spike to be. So this is not that I've accidentally cut off a spike. It was just not sculpted on there. So that's where there was a gate. So that just felt a little odd to me.
Is it the same on the other mace? Does it just have one on one of its
the other
sides?
mace has spikes all around. So maybe it's just showing a little bit of breaking of symmetry just to show that maybe he's been hitting people so hard with it, he's lost the spike on it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool in the sculpt, but yeah, something, you just got to take your time with them, don't you, with these guys? So these guys have a couple of really cool things. Again, we're seeing a little bit of flexibility with the upgrades in the orcs. That each one of the upgrades can go on to one of 2 characters potentially. So the first one is Brutal Frenzy. So this can go on to Haka or Basha. And essentially, whenever you're charging in, you're going to get an extra fight dice. So an extra attack dice whenever you're going in.
Yeah.
That is an amazing first upgrade.
Yeah.
These guys are already coming with 2 dice flat. If you put a 3rd dice in there, you're almost guaranteeing hits. They do a small amount of damage though. They do only do 1, but as soon as they take damage, they're going to flip over to that inspired side.
Yeah.
Just flip
And
them
when
and
they do
check.
that,
They both go up to 2 damage.
Yeah.
So getting them in immediately, quickly, getting them frenzied,
and then if one of them has that charging while inspired, that's 4 dice on the attack, which is monstrous.
like absolutely ridiculous. Like I don't think we. Well, yeah, the only time we've come across the 4 dice is when you had played a ploy card which added 2 dice on.
Yeah.
4 dice was incredibly rare, so to have that continually.
Using that, I could actually have gotten 5 dice if I had went with someone who had 3.
Yeah.
Base, but again, I think it was a corn specific one. That
That's like a kind of top level tier.
Although there is one thing I do notice about all of these cards, which I absolutely love. A lot of games, whenever you have upgrade cards in them, will put a cost on them, but it will be different costs for different upgrades. And so you'll sit there holding cards and trying to wait for upgrades. And maybe get screwed over on your economy. Whenever it's just one to upgrade every time, makes it so much easier.
Yeah, and we haven't seen any way to steal glory from people.
No.
It's just you gain your glory for fighting, your glorious warband, and you just spend it straight away on something.
No, I would nearly be tempted to say that's probably going to be a Skaven thing if it's in there.
that would be cool.
It would be really thematic.
I'd be quite surprised to see it. I think just being able to spend your glory quickly keeps the game going fast, and 3 phases do go by quickly. But yeah, if the Skaven had it, I'd be alright with it.
See, the way I would have it, if it was on the Skaven, I would have it that you can spend an opponent's glory but not steal that glory.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So that it's not taking away from their victory points, but it's taking away from their ability to use their victory points to gain upgrades.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's a good idea, actually. On the terms of glory, then, we have Punch-Up.
Punch-Up.
Which
perfect class.
It really, look at that fist to dwarven faces.
Why a dwarf though?
So perfect.
No, what did he do to that orc?
Orcs and dwarfs, like they've never gotten on. And essentially, I believe what this one's going to do is at the end of a phase, in an end phase, if you've had 2 different models attack 2 different enemy models, you're going to get 2 glory.
Yeah.
2, 2, and 2, nice and straightforward. More glory for hitting people.
Yeah.
I've not really been an orc player.
I'm noticing a theme here.
Yeah, but I'm liking a bit of simple, straightforward get in and smash. They all feel like I like Blood Bowl, obviously, and Black Orcs are the guys, the blockers, the big hard hitters of Blood Bowl, and these guys all feel like just really hard hitting, characterful, charging characters that I just want to get in with. Speaking about that though, outside of the Orc faction specific cards, there's a couple of interesting cards that you could use again universally with any of the factions in Shadespire. First one is Duel of Wits. I think you'll really like this if you have a quick read of that.
Duel of Wits. Well, it's got a Corn Berserker on here. The artwork is
on point.
I'm digging the artwork straight off the bat.
So this is a reaction. This is whenever an opponent plays a ploy, you can instantly draw 2 power cards.
Oh.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Talking about drawing through your deck and reacting and having enough
something
to do.
like that. Yeah, definitely. Although I will say, I want to read the fluff bit on this one. He's a clever one, this wretch. That won't stop me gutting him.
Yeah.
Nice.
Brains don't stop axes.
That's actually Margot Redhand. So I think that might possibly be one from the
future set
for the Corn. So if we look at the artwork once more, this might be the guy you're waiting to see.
Yeah, because at the minute we have both the orcs and we have the undead from the expansion boxes, and then we have the core set. But we're expecting, I think, 4, and there's 4 more, and there's a reason why in this again will lead you to.
If you haven't seen anything else about these yet, this is your bugbear.
So it's an interesting one. So Cadofrian's Belt. This is one part of what I'm assuming is going to be a 6-part armor set that gives you a cumulative benefit as you get the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th pieces. It doesn't do anything on its own. So that card, in essence, in this box, is not worth playing.
Yes.
However, if you pick up one of the other expansions, like we've seen with the Sepulchre Guard, you could then get 2 of them in and get some really incredible bonuses.
Yeah.
Do
you want me to quickly cycle through them?
Yeah, cycle through them very briefly.
Okay. So if you have 2, you get to reroll the defense dice.
Yep.
If you have 3, you get to reroll the attack dice. If you have 4, you get to draw 2 power cards after this fighter's action. So every time that fighter acts, you get to draw 2 power cards. So if you want to be drawn through, as soon as you get to 4, it's making it a lot easier to get to 6, which is gain 4 glory whenever you get the 6th on there. Now, it does nothing different from the other version of this card in the other set.
It's essentially just a collection.
Exactly. So I do like the fact that they're not all doing something individual, although that could have been something cool with maybe having all 6 giving you
depending
that
the order that you did it on. Yeah.
But if each one gave you a different bonus, and then whenever you got, it says if you have all 6 on there, then you get this final bonus. I would like that.
But my pain is that if you just had this box, so if your friends picked up the starter set and you thought, I want to play as well, but I want to play with orcs, I'm going to buy this, that card's basically doing nothing for you.
Yeah.
Which does make me a little sad. However, it could entice you to pick up those other boxes and try and maybe work a deck around it, because deck building is such an important part of the game.
Well, you see, this is the thing. In this set, you have everything you need to do your deck building. It's not just a pre-built deck.
Yeah.
So having one card out of all the cards in there that's maybe just sitting on the shelf, not a huge thing.
Yeah. It's that design space thing, but as we've sort of mentioned, there's 437 cards altogether in this set to come. So there's going to be plenty of options for you to mix and match and test different strategies, to test the objective play, to test the movement and upgrading play. There's lots to do. This set on its own, I love it. I think the models are great.
Is this the one for you?
Yeah, I think the models are great. The characters are great. They're very thematic, and I think what won me over was the art on these cards in particular. We've seen with the previous factions that they're all very coloured specifically, but there is something about, like, what did I not show you? I don't think I showed you Ard Head. Have a look at that one. Ard Head? Ard Head.
All right, what's this?
Look at that as a piece of art that's just absolutely fantastic. It's basically making you tougher.
Yeah, it's basically standing there going, whap, break, and just going, I don't care today. When this fighter suffers damage, reduce that damage by 1 to a minimum of 1. Yeah. Oh, on every attack.
If you're only getting 4 activations each round, and you have even a single model in your faction that would take 4 or 5 hits to go down, then that's soaking up far too much time. You'd have to just ignore them. Putting that on a unit, you couldn't.
Well, it goes on Haka or Basha. Yeah. So they start with 4. Yeah. This essentially means that if you have someone fighting against them that does 2 damage, then they're basically cutting their damage in half the whole time. They're going to need to get a strength bonus or something to bring them back up on point.
There's actually a lovely range of choice. Okay, it's all kind of fighty feeling with the orc specific cards, but I don't feel like it's boring. I don't feel like I'm being forced in one way. I do feel when I draw my first 5 cards, I will have choices to make, and that's a big thing. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, fantastic. I think the only thing left to do is pass it out to everybody out in the community. What do you think of what we've looked at for the Orruks? We will move on. We will see you in the next one.